All right. Well, if you're new to the live, my name is Randall. This is the McClures. We react, review, we make fun of, we laugh at stuff over here. Links are in the description if you want to help support the channel. If you don't like to donate to streamers, then buy yourself something. ShopMcClures.com. We sell all kinds of stuff. Great gifts, collectibles, makeup, car wash, all kinds of stuff. It's all made in America. ShopMcClures.com. Find something that you need. Helps the channel keep going. We're going to get into this video. This is a segment of a PBD podcast with Alex Jones. PBD is Patrick Bet David, and he interviewed Alex Jones on his podcast recently. I have watched this before, and I didn't know the segment was from this interview, but I didn't share it. I didn't put that out as a video. I watched that on my own, not with you guys. So I figured we'll show it to you. We'll show it to you.
Few people you can trust. They can let your guards down and just talk to them. I would assume your mom and dad are in that.
Oh yeah, they were always good people. They weren't villains. But my mom, has a degree in history. They were just always into this stuff, and they believed in America. And it's like a naiveness that, well, we do some bad things because we've got to, beat the bad guys.
So they were more from the standpoint of, Alex, you got a million other things you can do. You're smart. Why are you doing this? This is not the life you want to live. Is it kind of like that message or no?
It was, we don't want you to get killed.
Okay. No, the message was, we don't want you to die. That was the message.
Let's go back to 10 years old, 12 years old. Everybody has an influence, right? For me, my mother's family, they were all communists. My dad's family, they were imperialists. For you to be this much of a true believer, wow. What was the conversations like at the kitchen table with mom and dad? What did you guys talk about?
Well, there was full mobilization in the Cold War across the country, but particularly places like Texas and the South. And so, I would go to family reunions, and it was like a Soldier of Fortune convention. And so a lot of the family had been obviously in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and a lot of them had been, operatives in the CIA and things like that. But to me, you're a kid, and when the family reunion's going on, I'm just, getting on a four-wheeler and, taking a shotgun off and shooting birds. I'm not, hanging out with all these old men. And then a lot of family on my dad's side that had done stuff for the government in operations, not just around the world, but here. And because back then it was all human intelligence. By the 90s, it went to digital stuff. But before that, you had to have a lot of muscle on the ground, a lot of people. For people that don't know, the Army, all over the world, but also in the U.S., would go around and, kill people. It was like extrajudicial. Senators would sign off on letters, and then they'd send usually Army officers off to kill people. So like when you see the movie, what's that movie with all the great actors, Apocalypse Now, where they have the Army captain and then they're sending him to kill Colonel Kurtz. That's a fictional story, but that's actually how it works. Right. The biggest hitman group in the United States or the world would be like Army officers. Like that, you think like, the Italian mafia's got 100 hitmen. Well, they've got 10,000 hitmen. So, and then my dad had a guy he called, like
quite the statement.
Cousin, 10 years older, that lived across the street, and he only told my dad about this later and stuff. But that was one of his jobs. And then my mom's brother had been an Army officer, and he was involved in Iran-Contra and a bunch of black ops. But he was involved in like being in charge of things, building airfields in Central and South America. And so he was the one that really told me about all this stuff. And then my dad had got recruited into the academic arm of this stuff.
This is why he's got sources, folks.
The CIA in like Plan 2 at University of Texas when he was like 14, 15. He was already going to the University of Texas because he was winning all these awards and had top, perfect score. And his mom thought he was going to, when he was like 14, to take tests to be in NASA and Eisenhower's Whiz Kid program, but it wasn't a Whiz Kids program to be in NASA. And so my dad got into that for a while. He never told me what he did. And he decided like to get out of it and just be a doctor at a certain point. But the house was just full of all those Zbigniew Brzezinski books and Henry Kissinger stuff and just world politics and, just military manuals and just stuff everywhere. And my dad was just always voraciously reading. And so I just grew up basically around all this stuff. And it was particularly my mom's brother, who died about 9 years ago, a really smart guy, who got out of it. And then when he was dying of pneumonia, last time I saw him, I thought he was going to live, and he was dead a week later. he just said, "Well, I want you to know the stuff about them trafficking kids is true, and that's why I got out of what I was doing in Central America because they were smuggling kids out of orphanages and doing terrible things with them, and we just knew about it."
This is your mom's brother, uncle.
My mom's brother,
yeah.
And of course, remember this is 9 years ago, before all the migrant crisis and the kids and the current smuggling. He was seeing it down there, and he said he and a bunch of his guys got out of it. Some of the guys he was with, the government killed.
And what was his background? Your uncle?
He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Okay. And mainly delivered special forces troops into Laos and places. And he worked for him. My mom doesn't like me telling this stuff because he told her about it, didn't tell me. And she says, it's embarrassing the family. But he was doing whatever he's told in Vietnam, and it was smuggling opium.
Your mom and dad, when they saw you,
his dad was smuggling opium in Vietnam for the U.S. of A. This is why all the other countries hate us. I mean, we are the best, and the citizens here have it the best. So they also hate us for that. But mainly they hate us because our corrupt politicians meddle in all their shit over there to get their own way. You know what I mean? We got politicians whacking people in other countries so that their cousin's company can prosper. You know what I mean? It's corrupt, folks. It's corrupt. It is absolutely corrupt these days. And it's sad to see. It is sad to see. But this is why Alex Jones has such good contacts. He knows so much. It's why Alex Jones is right as a t-shirt. He's got some history, folks. He's got some history and some connects and people to listen to.
When you first got into, you've been in the space of InfoWars, in which you've been doing for how long? 30 years, 28 years, 25 years?
29 years.
29 years. Okay. So when you first got in,
I was 20 years old.
You were 20 years old. Okay. So what was their initial reaction to it? Was it like, Alex, what are you doing? And it was we believe in you. We agree with you. You're talking too much. Relax. This is you going overboard. What was their reaction to this when you first got started?
My dad, for the first 5, 6, 7 years, was just sometimes say, you need to be careful what you're doing, and you could get killed doing this. And one time he said, I can have you talk to some people and get you out of this right now. And I said, the government's bad. He said, they are bad. They got to do bad things to protect this country. They're in charge because they're smart, and they're smarter than us.
What a thing to say.
And yeah.
They got to do bad things to protect the country.
Yeah. And well, because there's bad guys, and so we have
totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
And we have to fill the place of the bad guys so they don't control that space. Okay, you understand?
We got to fill the space of the bad guys so they don't control that space.
Yes, that's all Zbigniew Brzezinski, Harvard, Straussian.
Right, so you used the SEAL team to whack a drug smuggling ring in Colombia, but the drugs need to be moved. So now the CIA runs the operation. Oh, and we'll take the profits so we can do other operations as well. Just a byproduct. There's bad people, so we need to do bad things. I guess that's technically not wrong, because it's not. But what a screwed up philosophy to run a country with and to operate a government with. That's pretty out there. That is pretty out there, for sure.
Justifies the mean stuff. This is the philosophy there, but they're really the bad guys. And then about 6 years into it, my dad came and apologized. He said, "No, you're right," and because the system wasn't that bad, as on the surface 25 years ago.
Yeah.
But then when he was, "No, you're right," and like his cousin, would do stuff like, I'd be over there for coffee like once or twice a year, and he'd go, "Yeah, I've been reading some of the stuff you're doing. You better be careful. They're going to kill your ass." And I didn't even know at that time that's what he did. I mean, I'm sitting there with an Army officer that,
So let me. I'm trying to get the dates right here because 29 years ago makes it 1996.
So the guy giving him the warning that you need to be careful what you're talking about, they're going to whack you, is an Army officer, which Alex Jones has just previously said the Army officers are the assassins for the military. Okay.
Is it fair to say you started in 1996?
No, I started in 94.
94. Okay, so okay,
and
I'm sorry,
Wikipedia is all
94.
wrong.
29 years ago.
Wikipedia is all wrong. It says InfoWars started in 2019. That's just the way the internet registers it. Once I transferred it, it started in 1997. I got the website.
Perfect. So 1994, you get started. 6 years later, your dad is saying you're right. Is this pre you saying what's going to happen to the towers or what's going to happen? There's an attack that's going to happen in July. Was it pre that event, or did your dad say, I agree with what you're doing post that event?
No, he said he agreed with me right before that.
So pre 9/11, he agreed with you.
Yes.
And then what did he say to you after 9/11 when you're like, Dad, this is what's going to happen? I'm assuming you're talking to your mom and dad and like, hey, Alex, you sure about this? You just that's a pretty outlandish claim you're making. And then boom, 9/11 happens. What's that immediate conversation like? With and the reason why I want to focus on parents is because my influence is my mom and dad. So it's kind of like there's, as you're making these types of claims, and let's just say you're on a crusade. I think in your mind, you think you're on a crusade, right?
Definitely a crusade.
You can't trust a lot of people. There's only a few people you can trust. They can let your guards down and just talk to them. I would assume your mom and dad are in that.
Oh yeah, they were always good people. They weren't villains. But my mom, has a degree in history. They were just always into this stuff, and they believed in America. And it's like a naiveness that, well, we do some bad things because we've got to beat the bad guys.
So they were more from the standpoint of, Alex, you got a million other things you can do. You're smart. Why are you doing this? This is not the life you want to live. Is it kind of like that message or no?
It was. We don't want you to get killed.
Okay,
I mean, they knew
Straight up.
They're like, look, you're young, and yeah, the system's bad. People try to work in it to fix it, and you need to be really. I mean, it was mainly you just need to be careful. We have 3 original, one-of-a-kind toothpaste designed by my father, a dentist, at InfoWarsStore.com that don't have fillers. They're filled.
One-of-a-kind toothpaste, folks. InfoWars.com. Go get you some. Go get you some. All right, so that was a little bit of Alex Jones' childhood and family history, but you can see how, where some of the info that he gets come from, where some of the information that he gets, where it comes from. He does have a lot of family connections to past military events that have happened, which gives you a good insight on how they're going to operate going forward in future endeavors. Which is why he has a crystal ball, so to speak. Like PVD just mentioned, he predicted 9/11, including bin Laden, a few months before it actually happened. Crazy stuff, folks. Crazy stuff. If you haven't gone down the Alex Jones rabbit hole because you've listened to the media smear him, I recommend you do it. He's right a lot more than he's wrong. And that's the truth. And that's the truth. If you're on the live, we appreciate you. We're going to keep going. Drop your request. If you're tuning into this as a video, we do appreciate you almost as much as the people that tune into the lives. You should become one of those. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at least. Link in the description, though. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And shopmcclures.com. If you don't like to donate or support streamers directly that way, buy yourself something. shopmcclures.com. That also helps keep the channel going and me making content. We got cheeseburgers to buy, folks. We got cheeseburgers to buy, mouths to feed. We'd appreciate the help. We would. Later, bye.